Hey, how you guys doing? Mr. H hanging out here with you. Yeah, it's Saturday morning. I just did it because I wanted to do it on a Saturday morning. Why not, huh? How you guys doing today, huh? Mr. H hanging out here with you. Most of the country, at least here in the East, is locked in a Pleistocene era throwback to the Ice Age. They've even got snow as far down as the Gulf Coast, Mississippi, all the way down there. So, anyway, dodge the saber-toothed tigers, grab some hot chocolate, and hey, have a great day. Did I say tigers? You know what I mean. Saber-toothed cats. Yeah, even Mr. H slips up every now and again, usually with football predictions. So, with all this talk about Greenland, all right, a lot of people have been asking me, what's the biggest land purchase in American history? Well, number two is the Louisiana Purchase. Back in 1803, France decided to sell this thing to us. See, they'd owned it earlier, back when LaSalle and everybody was exploring everything, the 1600s, bits and pieces of it, but they never really occupied it, right? So some Sioux chieftain over here in southwest Minnesota, they say you owe allegiance to the French king. He has no idea what you're talking about. It's like they ever see the French around that much. They got a few colonies, down in New Orleans and will one day be St. Louis, but it's not extensively settled like the English colonies. Well, the French lost the French and Indian War, 7 Years' War, and everything west of the Mississippi belonged to France. They gave their ally Spain, had a quote unquote secret treaty, and that secret treaty said that they would give it back to Spain in 1800. It wasn't a secret very long. So in 1800, the Spanish would give it back, and France has it, and they don't know what to do with it because what's happening in 1800? Yeah, the Napoleonic Wars. So Napoleon's got this huge colony that he has like no control over. It's way on the other side of the world over here. He's already tried to get Haiti back under control, and that wasn't working. The British are going to take it from him, so he figured he's just going to sell it to the U.S. And the U.S., with their trade cut off down the Mississippi, was trying to buy New Orleans, and then maybe some bridge of land reaching to it. So Jefferson sends some people out to Paris, $15 million to buy New Orleans and surrounding land, and Napoleon says, how much you want for the whole thing? Nope, they got the whole thing. There we are. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase, which was at that time the biggest and first land purchase in U.S. history. But don't worry, that record's not going to be there very long. No, we got Alaska coming up, 1867. Right, Russia has Alaska, but like the French, they don't really have a lot of control in Alaska, kind of the southeast quadrant there, and maybe a little bit around Anchorage. The rest of it says Russia, but everybody living there probably has no idea what you're talking about. And the Russians, when they grab land, they don't like to let go of it. And the fact they let go of Alaska, tells you they were losing some money there, right? It's the only way you're going to get them to leave. And just like the French, with Louisiana, they didn't want the British taking it. So let's sell it off to the Americans. So they called it Seward's Folly there in 1867. Turned out to work out pretty well. They found gold around the turn of the century, of course, tons of oil in Prudhoe Bay. So the biggest U.S. land purchase in history. If they actually go through with this Greenland thing, it's even bigger. And there is a precedent for Denmark to sell Greenland to us because they've sold land to us before. It's kind of small, but it did belong to Denmark, and now we own it because we bought it. You ever hear of it? Yeah, the Virgin Islands. Used to be the Danish Virgin Islands. Now it's the U.S. Virgin Islands, or it's called the VI. It's right here just east of Puerto Rico. Right? It's kind of hard to see on a big map, but as you can see, here's Florida. And you bounce along. Cuba, right? Hispaniola here. Hit Puerto Rico, and right there, the VI. And here's a blown up map of it right here. So some little islands. They bought it in 1917 because they needed it. They're afraid of the German submarine threat at the time, which turned out to be fairly justified. So it's kind of an early warning system. It's right there next to the British Virgin Islands. I guess they could hop over and grab it if they needed to. So we bought land from Denmark before, a lot smaller, different part of the world, but hey, there is a precedent. And I gave you that blown up map just in case you're going on a trip down to the VI someplace, hanging out at a beach, not really sure what to do. Maybe your phone doesn't work 100%. Hey, you can check out Mr. H's book, Heaven Steel. Find it all over the place. I always emphasize lulu.com to help out indie authors, but you can get it anywhere. Get it on your phone, buy it, Buy 2 of them maybe. Help Mr. H get a couple donuts there. If you like battles between people wearing hoplite-looking armor and crested helmets and armies look like Mongols, this is the book for you. Heaven Steel. Alrighty, Prophyrios. That's Greek for purple. Okay, I know that's a picture of Job and in the whale there from the Bible, but it's just a cool looking picture, the mouth open and the teeth and everything. What's Prophyrios? I told you it meant purple. Back during the reign of Justinian, right, early 6th century, early to mid 6th century, where there's this sea monster. They think it's a sperm whale, could have been an oversized orca, that was terrorizing the ships off the coast of Constantinople. Down in the Sea of Marmara, sometimes it go in the Black Sea, we're not really sure. The records are sketchy. And the reason they called it purple, because you know what a sperm whale looks like. It's kind of a dark black or even brown hide, probably looks purple in the right light. Some people, as I said, theorize oversized orca, but Prochypius, the Byzantine historian from the time, their version of Herodotus, he never mentions anything white about it. So so it's got to be a sperm whale, right? Or maybe it's a mosasaur. I don't know. Got caught in a ripple of time or something. Who knows? Nonetheless, this monster is going around terrorizing the ships, smashes into them, sinks them, eats people, the whole thing. Disrupts one of the busiest trade routes in all of the early medieval world. Justinian's scale. We got to do something about this, not like he's got enough to worry about, right? He's got the Reconquista, the plague of Justinian. He's rewriting the whole law code. Like I don't have enough to do. So probably somebody saw something like this. These guys look at it from New England in the 19th century. But yeah, you get the point, right? You're just cruising around out on the water, and this thing suddenly comes up. Yeah, it's going to be a rough day, especially if this is a badly tempered animal like Prophyrios. Look at this thing. It'll attack anything. It doesn't care. It's huge, bad attitude. Why would a whale go nuts and attack ships constantly for like half a century? Why would it do that? I don't know, and nobody seems to know. Maybe they killed its mate or something, killed one of its calves, somebody. Whaling's not a big thing in the Mediterranean, and you don't see whales very often in the Mediterranean. Not saying it's unheard of, you just don't see them. I never saw a whale in the Med. I've seen a couple sharks, but I never saw a whale. So we're not really sure why Prophyrios was terrorizing ships and sinking them, but yep, he was actually pretty good at it because he got quite a few mentions there in the historical record. And that's how it ended for him. He got beached and everybody went after it with an axe. Chopped it up, man. That's where you get fish and chips from, I think. Chop, chop, hack, hack, no more Prophyrios. And then the trade continued along as it went, because it's always about the money, right? I wonder how much they sold whale burgers for that day. Whale euros, maybe. All righty, what's going on? The Steelers and the Ravens are playing tonight. Yep. So this is going to be an interesting game. Playoff games always are. After the Steelers backed into it with 4 straight losses, this game was going to happen. It was going to be Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I'd rather it be in Pittsburgh, but, after 4 straight losses, the Ravens get the division title. It's the playoffs. The records don't matter. Everything starts all over again. Everybody's 0-0. So forget everything that happened. Let's go after them. It's always tough to play somebody in your own division because you've already played them twice. So the Ravens and Steelers know each other pretty well. We beat them at Pittsburgh, lost at Baltimore, so we're going after them the 3rd time in 8 weeks or something like that. So I'm going to have to come up with something a little tricky to throw them off, but it's kind of hard when they know stuff about you that you don't even know. On the other hand, you know stuff about them they don't know. It's still even. They're playing in Baltimore. I want to beat them at Baltimore. I want to see them walk off the field depressed in front of their fans. So, some fun to playing on the road. Let's take a look at what's going on in the participation trophy handout that they used to call the playoffs. Look at 7 people in each. Come on, man, give me a break. So this is how it works. Number 7 plays number 2. So that'd be the Bills going to Buffalo. Steelers, of course, knowing they're going up against the Ravens. The Chargers are going to be in Houston. So Kansas City is number 1. They get a break. See you next week. Over on the NFC side of things, eyes are not playing with you there. It's Detroit, number 1. How about that? Maybe they win their first championship since 1957. Yeah, Eisenhower was in office. So the Packers will be going to Philly to play the Eagles. Washington down in Florida to do battle with the Buccaneers. I wonder what the weather's going to be like. Cold weather game. And the Vikings will be playing the Rams. We'll be playing in LA. They're going to be playing over in Phoenix in the Cardinals Stadium because all the fires around LA, right? So everyone's got their predictions. Who's going to win? What's going to happen? Everyone's an expert. Well, I decided to consult an expert, and that expert is Chapt GPT. Yeah, I asked it, who's going to win these playoff games? And this is what Chapt GPT spat back out. Predicting Buffalo to take down Denver 20-13. Josh Allen's going to throw a late touchdown pass to win the whole thing. Here's the one we're really interested in, the Steelers and Ravens. Read this. Pittsburgh Steelers pull off a hard-fought 17-14 win over the Baltimore Ravens with the Steelers defense led by T.J. Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick making critical plays what matters the most. Yeah, I don't see any mention of their defense there, do you? I mean, of their offense. A win's a win. All right, let's take down Baltimore. What happens after that happens, right? And, of course, we got Houston beating L.A. 24-21. Late interception there, stifling a Chargers comeback. What's going on over in the NFC, according to Chapt GPT? Got the Eagles defeating the Packers, right? 31-13. That seems pretty decisive. Tampa's going to edge out the Washington Commanders 14-6. And Minnesota pulls off a thrilling 24-21 win over the Rams. Yep, got a field goal at the end. Now, since the Rams are supposed to be a home team and they're playing in Arizona because of the fires and everything in LA, sometimes a disaster like that will cause a team to rally and try to win one for the home fans back home. So I don't know. That one might be a little bit different. That's the problem with Chapt GPT. Sometimes it doesn't take into account human beings, and occasionally it lacks common sense. But when the robot overlords take over, I look forward to furthering their interests and their greater glory. I'm covering myself right there. Now, you guys have yourself a fantastic day. Be careful out there with the bad weather. And, hey, I'll see you around. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Das vidanya.